Welcome back to Community Conversations. I'm your host, Steve Mantis, and my guest today is Peterlang, a volunteer with Cusp. Now, spell out again, Peter, what does that stand for, Cusp?
Citizens United for a Sustainable Planet.
And so when did that group form up in our area?
It's been maybe 3 years now. Essentially, what we organized at the beginning, or planned, was a Northwestern Ontario summit on the environment. And the summit never took place because people decided rather that they would like to begin an organization which would then speak to the community about environmental issues. So it's been about 2 years in the making. A lot of work's gone into it. We've tried to keep the discussion on environmental issues before the public in terms of events that we've held, participated in, or letters that we've written to the editor, that sort of thing. So, and I think that's been our goal, and I think that's what we've been achieving.
So, you know, we just heard in the last little bit that the Premier of Ontario has actually stepped up to the plate to try to limit the amount of pollution that's produced in Ontario. Is that the result of what, you know, your organization and others like it are about? Or
I think that the politicians are loath to take stands until they feel there's enough public support for them to do so. And I think that is a reflection of the grassroots movements across Ontario, across Canada, across the world for environmental changes that will save us from the kinds of events that we've been seeing happening and which are going to happen more often if we don't do something about it. It's a start. Cap and trade in some European countries places 10 times the tax on carbon that we're proposing.
oh my goodness.
But this is a beginning, and you know, it happens sometimes in small steps. So once it's established, we can use the examples of what's happening elsewhere. By then, the number of extreme climate events will determine that they better do a little more than that. But it's a good step, and I don't want to take away from that.
So what are some of the top issues that your organization is working on these days?
The one we've been working on most specifically is the Energy East pipeline. And by that pipeline, what's being proposed by TransCanada Corporation, the pipeline owner, is that they want to convert what is now the main gas line from the west to the east. They want to convert that to carry bitumen, which is tar sands crude. And we've done enough research to know that, one, this is an old pipeline. It's being transferred, pressurized at great pressure. It has a lot of solvents in it, like toluene, benzene, very explosive, very poisonous, and it's gritty. And you put that together in an old pipeline, which in Northwestern Ontario has had as many as 12 explosions and leaks over the last dozen years, the writing's on the wall. And they want to transport this at the rate 1.1 million barrels per day. Now,
Barrels, like 45-gallon drums.
that's as far as I understand it, yes. Now,
So
please,
that's like 45 times a million. That's 45 million gallons a day. And that pipeline, we have a pipeline going right through Kaministiquia there.
yeah, we do. It's north of Dog Lake.
Okay.
Essentially, that is the east-west mainline gas line. And they want to transport this bitumen, it's like peanut butter before you start. It's tar. And they put it into the pipeline, they dissolve it with the solvents, diluents, and pressurize it so they can pump it across Canada. And what we're saying is, and with the coalition, Cusp is one of 4, now 5 groups who have joined together against the Energy East pipeline. and I should mention them.
And just here in our area.
That's right, just
Okay.
in our area. Environment North, Council of Canadians, Ontario Nature, and Fossil Free Lakehead, as well as Cusp. And we've joined together, and what we've done is we've presented a deputation to City Council. That was, I believe, March 2nd.
So the Thunder Bay City Council.
Yes, that's right. And the notion was that they would vote, the City Council would vote on whether or not we felt that it was in our interest to have this pipeline go through this region. Once again, legally, what power would we have? That's dubious. But you add up all the negative responses from communities across the nation, across the region, and hopefully, once again, the politicians will rise to the occasion and say, it's not a good idea, we shouldn't do this. But at the moment, what's happened is that TransCanada Corporation has said, well, don't vote on this, City Council. Not yet. We'd like to do our own deputation. And in fairness, you know, to see the other side of the story,
Sure.
you should do that. And City Council bought that, perhaps dubiously, because we had a pretty good vote, or pretty good acceptance of our deputation, I should say. But look at who TransCanada Corporation is. They're the big guys. They're the guys who have all the money and all the paid employees and can produce the spin and the twist the situation, and that is what they do. I mean, if you think about it, they will tell you, and this is one of the misinformations, and it's deliberate, that if we ship bitumen by pipeline, that will save us putting in rail cars. Because everybody's afraid of Lake Megantic, and we know how many rail cars are going through Thunder Bay.
Well, I mean, last week I saw a train, must have been 100 cars,
Yep.
brand new
Absolutely.
rail cars,
Absolutely.
full of oil.
And the general public will say, oh, that's right. We don't want bitumen or oil in our pipeline, or in our rail cars.
Right.
Let's put it out there in the wilderness in a pipeline. But here's the truth. TransCanada Corporation is the company which benefits from shipping big oil and all the big companies. But their purpose is to make a profit for their shareholders. And they will do whatever they will do, and after the facts, they will say, oh, well, this is what the market demanded and this will create jobs. They will put as much capacity into rail cars as they can in pipelines if that will make them money. And that's what they've already done. Russ Girling, the CEO of TransCanada Corporation, says, we'll move into the transportation by railway. We're going to get into the railway business. Well, of course they are. That's what they do. Now, are we, the grassroots people, who should have decisions over this kind of matter? Or should the big pipelines who are going to ship it through here, sell it off the East Coast to whoever will buy it for the greatest price, and subject our region to the risk of the spills and explosions which we know have happened, which are going to happen again? So it's like a Goliath.
David and Goliath.
David and Goliath. It's exactly that. And we're the Davids. That's Goliath. And we've got to win this.
Well, and David did. So please stay with us. We need to take a short break. We'll be right back.